Now that we're a little bit more familiar with how philosophers at least annotate, that is, write down definitions, let's talk a little bit about what makes a good or a bad definitions. And I'm going to introduce two concepts: too broad, that some definitions are too broad and some are too narrow. If you think about it, it's like Goldilocks and the Three Little Bears. You know, Goldilocks found one bed that was too hard, one bed was too soft and just right. Same thing with definitions. Some are going to be too broad, some are going to be narrow. Actually, the one difference from Goldilocks here is some are going to be both, and some of them are going to be good. But let's try to understand why we have these concepts and why we need these concepts when we're dealing with definitions. Well, the idea is good definitions in philosophy are going to capture the meaning of the term. And remember, we have the definiens, the thing doing the defining, or I should start left to right. The definiendum, the term that needs to be defined, or the concept that needs to be defined. The right side, the definiens, the thing that's going to be defined. But both sides have to mean exactly the same thing. And to understand what we're talking about, we're going to consider a couple of bad definitions. Let's look at this definition. Number 3. Sister equals by definition means female person. Now you guys are saying, wait a second, that isn't right. Now, but let's think about what's wrong with it. And I think what we would say in trying to explain what's wrong with a definition like this is that the definiens, the thing doing the defining, the female person, lets in too many things, or lets in things that are not sisters, right? So what we say is a definition like this is bad because it's too broad. That is, the definiens, the right side, picks out too many things. Or we might say, rather than picks out, lets in too many things. That is, it lets in people who just happen to be female but have no siblings. So somebody who's female and doesn't have any siblings is not going to be a sister. If you're an only child and female, you're not a sister. So that's the problem with this. The definition is too broad. Let's consider another definition defective in the other direction. Sister is an adult female person. Say, well, this one is bad because it's too narrow, right? The definiens excludes too many things, right? There are sisters who are children. So there are things that are not adult female persons, but are sisters. So here, this is a bad definition because this one is too narrow. And then if we think of the definition, sister equals by definition or means adult sibling, we're going to find out that, or when we think about it, it has both kinds of defects. Right? It's both too broad and too narrow. It's too broad in that it picks out too many things. It picks out adult siblings, also picks out brothers, and brothers aren't sisters. In addition to which, it excludes things. If you have a child, a female child who has siblings, you're a sister. So here, number 5 is both too broad and too narrow. And when we're looking at definitions, we want to make sure that they're not too broad, not too narrow, and not both too broad, too narrow, but we just want them just right to capture exactly the same meaning.